Yeah.
Seriously.
But
No, seriously, we could just sit there and like spit like this for hours.
It could be something. It could be something in the future.
You just gotta take one thing at a time.
Yeah, I think focusing on the recording right now, like the visual, like the interview thing, that's perfect. You know what I mean? Yeah, we don't need to rush into anything. And eventually, like I said, maybe we can take the audio from that and just upload that separately. You know, and that could be the start of a podcast or something. Who knows?
No, actually, yeah, that's a really good idea.
Yeah, instead of just like having to stretch too much.
But you know, like Gary Vee did that, like with his show.
Yeah.
He started out where he did his daily V. Have you seen that before?
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, and he just turned that into his podcast. And he said it was a bad idea because it wasn't authentic to a podcast platform. Because no matter how you look at it, it's a different platform. Like, it's a different art. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, there's a visual art, and with certain visual art, like with a visual art goes like a certain dialogue, and then with just like a non-visual art goes a different dialogue.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you don't feel the same like energies from them. And he said once he started doing his podcast genuinely, like, dude, he started. That's when his podcast got really good, because he just like felt like he didn't have enough time to do everything. But yeah, like, dude, it's you hit that high. Yeah. During contest prep, like, you're just so motivated. Yeah. It's because you have like a short-term goal, right?
Yeah, that's the thing.
It's like too short-term of a goal. It's like, oh, I'm gonna get like fucking shredded and in the best shape of my life.
Well, it depends on how far out like you plan on doing it. You know what I mean? Well, I guess like even if it's like 6 months or so, it's still kind of short-term.
After, like, you have no short-term goal, so it like fucks with your head.
Unless you had another one planned. But if you get to the point where you're like, all right, I'm done like competing, period. Then it's like, oh, like it changes. Like, it's like, oh shit, like that structure.
Dude, like every time I would like go into off season though after a competition, I would just like lose that structure though. Like,
oh really?
To a degree, I would always lose that structure because I felt like I was on such a high. Yeah. And like my adrenaline was so high, and like you have such a short term goal to get to every day that you hit that low after, like, where you're depressed because you're like, man, I don't have this goal that I'm going
for me. Like the next day or like 2 days after, I'd get back on a bulking diet. Like, so like I always had it like written down. Like, I still have them like in my bro. I have like Microsoft Excel files of like diets and shit that I'll have like printed out, and like I'll like put them somewhere where I can see them. Like, okay,
you just get back to it right away.
Almost, yeah, like a day or took me like a day or two. Cause I'm like, shit.
You're a better man.
It was no, really. Like, sometimes I wish I had it. Like, sometimes I wish like I let my life flow a little more as opposed to just being so choppy with like, oh shit, I gotta eat every 2 or 3 hours. You know, I gotta have 6 meals a day. I take all.
It's like you're always trying to have control over your life.
Yeah, it's like too much control.
It's like an overcompulsive disorder.
Exactly. And that was me. Like, I was trying to control it way too much. Yeah. And that's kind of where like it fucked me up. Not saying like I'm like it really like legit fucked me up or anything, but it's just trying to have that much control over your life doesn't allow for anything like spontaneous or interesting or like you kind of shut that off.
That's honestly why.
That's why I had to drop it. That's why like I had to like legit drop it, because I'm like, yo, this ain't how life should be.
I think that's why like every competition I ever did, I had to work with a coach. Because like I would never be able to be structured enough on my own because I'm too I'm too much of a free spirit. Yeah. Like, I need that flow in my life. You know what I mean? Yeah. And like even now, like I don't like follow a structured diet every day. You know what I mean? Like, every day is completely different because I just go completely just by like what I feel that day and what's going on that day and like when I can eat.
Right. I get you. For me, I almost like have to be structured, but I'm going through like a weird phase right now where like there's very little structure. I think I need it right now, but it's like it gets me like anxious. I'm like, oh my god, like
you're struggling with it.
Yeah, and especially like with the job, like being a personal trainer too. Like it's like there's no structure at all. But I think there's a purpose for me going through this type of phase.
Yeah.
Because like I need the kind of everything to be like unknown or uncertain right now, so that I can like really like shake things up and get to where like I really need to be. You know what I mean? Like
well, like right now.
Like
doing this.
Like
doing
starting
this up.
Starting
like
this
you
up.
needed to be in this phase in order to get to that phase.
Exactly.
And I think that's sometimes like the thing.
It's like a bridge. You know what I mean? Like there's like 7 years of certainty because of bodybuilding and your competitive aspirations, and then boom, you chop that off. That's done with, and then you go through this kind of like weird phase where like everything is just swirling around, I guess you can say.
Yeah.
And then boom, you land on like another island, I guess you can say.
Yeah.
Right, but something that's more genuine.
You're just very lost.
Right, yeah.
You're just kind of lost in space, and then you land.
Because your identity, like your self-perception, is caught up in being this guy who competes, being this guy who's this muscular, ripped all the time and shit like that, and it's like, man, like this is who I am. You get attached to that, and then you're just like, you gotta uphold that too, like all that pressure to like uphold it because everybody in your life sees you like that.
Right.
So it's like, man, if I drop off, then everybody's gonna be like, yo, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Exactly.
It's that pressure. It's
and that's what started happening to me. Like my business started suffering because I wasn't upholding the image of that fitness bodybuilder image.
Yeah, like this is my life. Like this is everything. I invest everything into this. But see, when you're trying to expand into that, higher expression of yourself, then like the people who sustained you, like in your shadow career, those people are gonna see like they're gonna have a shift in their perception of you, right? Because they saw you one way, and that shift is gonna cause them to step back and be like, whoa, like maybe this person isn't as, in their mind, genuine as I thought. Even though you're a genuine person, but to them they saw you as this bodybuilder because you decided to put yourself out like that.
Right.
But inside, like you're really a writer. But you have to do this shit, right, to like sustain yourself.
And I think that's what was interesting, like when I came back to like bodybuilding and lifting weights and all of that, is that I struggled at first because I was like, shit, I have to be like 100% this in order for like people to look at me and like want to work with me again. But then what I learned is that like maybe that upheld for a couple of weeks where where my mindset, I was like, okay, I gotta be 100% all this. That's just the way life is in order for me to keep like growing my business. But then,
a lot of people say you gotta focus on just one thing at a time, and you grow that enough, and then it sprouts out.
But which is true to a degree. What I ended up learning was that I can use it as a platform. So like now, like like with my Instagram posts, like my page is devoted to fitness and bodybuilding and online coaching and all that. But now I use the pictures and I use myself to talk about entrepreneurship and to talk about writing and to talk about all of those things. Yeah. Because people are like, oh, well, you're still this. You're still that like bodybuilder and fitness guy, but you just have more to you. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then people are actually interested that there's more to you.
Right.
And
some people like drop off so that it makes room for other people who can see you for
who you
really are.
No, and
that has to happen. Like,
because I did honestly, like the clients I lost, and the clients that I gained instead of those clients. That's what I felt like happened. There was that shift between like I lost the clients who didn't see me who I was, and then I gained the clients who did, and liked it, and liked who I was.
Yeah, like I think like the universe has to like break down certain aspects of your old self, your old life, right, in order to like make room for this new person that you're evolving into, right, and these people will match up with you energetically, right, better.
Yes.
On a greater level.
Yes.
So
and
that
pushes
pushes
in the right direction.
Right, and that energy from other people is gonna help push you.
Like I can say, like before, like 50% of my clients weren't motivated. And like getting the results that I was hoping, you know, that they would get, and that just like takes energy from you because
it does.
Because like that's why you're in this. That's the only thing that makes you like super excited about it is seeing their results and seeing them move forward. You know, but then now I can say there's not one client, like every single client I have is like on a journey and motivated and like really in this. And it's like you said, it's like all the universe working, like breaking you down and restructuring yourself. And now that, like, I don't make as much money as I did before, but I'm so much happier because I enjoy being with my clients. I enjoy speaking to them. I enjoy hearing how motivated they are. I enjoy hearing how I motivated them. I enjoy hearing from them that they like that I'm not just a bodybuilder or a fitness addict or whatever, that I'm also more than that. And that inspires them.
Right.
You know?
And everybody's energy or vibe impacts you in some way. You might have a very draining fucking client, and then you go home and you're like, fuck, I don't want to do shit. I don't want to write. I don't want to film nothing. Like,
no, exactly.
God, like, why? And you're asking, like, why? And it's like, because I'm just so fucking drained. And I think that's where people, like, in the 9-to-5 grind, like, get to. Especially if you're, like, a creative person and you get into that.
You get swallowed by your own creativity.
Right.
Because you don't have any chance to actually do it.
Right. And that creativity becomes inverted, and you end up destroying yourself. And that's why so many people end up with all these disorders and shit. And maybe there might be some scientific or hereditary components to it. But I think for a lot of people it's because their creativity becomes inverted and they hate the person that they become. And that's the only genuine feeling that they can tap into. And boom, their creativity responds to that. The universe responds to that. And boom, it keeps on destroying you, right? In that aspect. And then I think that's when some people wake up, they're like, okay, I got to do something about this shit. You know what I mean? And that's when they get up.
And that's the point I got.
I'm quitting this shit. Or
I was working like 8 hours a day, working with like 8 clients. Like 5 out of those 8 clients weren't like, I wasn't like really enjoying being with them that much. Because they would come in and they would like tell me, hey, I want to get in shape, but that's what they thought they wanted, but they didn't really want it. You know, there's a difference between like thinking you want it and actually wanting it. Right. You know? And because they think it's going to change their life around, but they don't realize like fitness is just a very surface level thing. Like your issues go a lot deeper than just
same
fitness.
with money too. A lot of people, and it's very easy to get caught up in it, especially like if you're out there supporting yourself. Like you think, and yes, money does of course have its place. No,
it gives you freedom.
Gives you freedom, and I guess some sense of security. Right. But it really internally, like it really doesn't change much.
No, it doesn't. Because I know a lot of people with a lot of money. And like they think that by having a nice car and having a 6-pack, life is going to be fucking awesome. And it's like. Nah. It's not for any of them. You know what I mean? And but no, it's just crazy. Like I got to that point where I was like suffocated by my own creativity, and so after like training 8 clients a day, I would just like go home and I would have to like just write, even though I was so tired and I was so drained. It was like I just had to get this shit out and become that person that I really needed to be.
That's that
pressure. Or else I was gonna die. Like I was literally just like, this life, what has it amounted to? It's amounted to nothing. Fuck.
Exactly. Bro. I got to that point. That's why I was like, if I don't start fucking directing or getting into camera work right now, like I'm gonna like a part of me is gonna fucking die. I'll regret it for the rest of my. I won't be able to live with myself. Right. I was like, I don't give a fuck. Like I gotta do this shit.
I think that's the difference between people who. I think that's why you hear so many success stories like about people who are like between 27 and like 35. And like are like still living at their parents' house or like sleeping on their sister's couch or whatever, and then they turn their whole life around because. It's almost between 27 and 35 that it's like that magic number. And some people figure it out like a lot earlier on. And they're very like lucky to. But it almost seems like that portion of your life is like that magic quarter life crisis, I guess you could call it, where like you realize that this is what's going on.
Yeah.
You know, like
you have a realistic
you're
concept.
stuck into that 9-to-5 grind or whatever it is, and you
don't
have
see an
to,
end to it.
Right.
Like with school, like there's an end to it. Like you go for if you're just getting a bachelor's 4 years, or I don't know if you're gonna go for a doctor or whatever, it's 8 years or some shit, right? There's an end to it.
Yeah.
With work, there is no perceived end. It's just a loop.
Yeah.
It's just
exactly.
It really is just a fucking loop. You're like, is this?
Say
And you're like, is this the loop that I want to be stuck in?
Yeah.
Really, that's the question.
No, and that's why you hear so
Is
many
this the
like
loop I wanna be stuck
great
in?
minds. That's why you hear so many great minds saying working a 9-to-5 is insane.
Yeah.
And that's why you always hear the quote like, if you don't work for yourself, you're gonna end up working for somebody else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But it's so difficult to be like, to just jump out there on your own, like we've done, and like, man, like you'd be like, you gotta figure out, you need a whole new set of skills. Like you need like, it requires real survival skills, not just like the shit that you can't learn in school.
Yeah.
Like you need real like hustling fucking survival skills. You know what I mean? And that like, if you haven't developed that, you know, from a young age, that's a scary thing to do. Just jump out there on your own and start getting it. You know what I mean? Like, cause you don't really have a concept for how this shit works, you know, and to try to learn how to fly, you know, on your way, like into that, or a lot of people have to drop down first, you know what I mean, before they can come up. So on your way down, like learn how to fly and sustain that. It's a scary fucking thing.
Yeah.
But to the people who do, like us, and who are willing to learn while on that journey, like
you're gonna go through ups and downs, and like
a lot.
You got you get scared a lot.
Yeah,
because
there's a lot of fear.
A lot of time you go one step backwards.
Yeah.
But it's to go 2 steps forward.
Yeah.
But when you're in that one step backwards phase, you're like, holy shit, like I'm not gonna survive anymore.
Or you
like
just
I'm
get
not gonna be able to
completely-
feed myself, and I'm not gonna make it.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happened to me. Like I was like at a point where like I was making good money and I was doing, you know, all the right things, but I was stuck in that loop, and I was like, is this all that life amounts to?
Yeah.
And then I found my creativity, but by finding my creativity, I turned to that person that people saw as, oh, you're not genuine.
Mm-hmm.
And then I lost, and I went a step backwards.
But
to
go forward
to
internally.
Go forward,
Yeah.
yes, to go 2 steps
internally,
forward.
it was a leap.
Right.
Your external world was represented by, you know, or that was represented by you losing, and that was actually, maybe it was a step forward, in a way, right?
Yeah.
If you look at it, like physically, you've lost clients
You're
and money,
perceiving it as a step backwards,
but it's really
because
not.
society tells you like that money again.
Yeah.
Then again,
money.
like, oh, money is the most important.
Right.
Or
But your
whatever.
internal state is what's really valuable, and that is what was advanced. You know what I mean? That is what moved forward. And so there was like true, like, you know, value in that, in taking that step. You know what I mean? So even with the money lost.
And then that prepares you for the future. Like I was saying earlier, like about this is our fucking boot camp.
Yeah. It
You
really
know, like you go through that. On your way up, you have to go through these trials and tribulations to know how to handle the real problems once you really have reached that level of success or fame that you've wanted to get to.
Yeah.
Because that example is a trial and tribulation that when you actually are at the top, you're not going to have that perception switch where you're going to go, oh shit, I'm going a step backwards. No, you're going to actually be able to tell yourself, no, this is good that all these things are happening right now.
Right.
Like say, like use the example earlier, like if you're directing for like a major studio and then you have like a deadline and you don't meet that deadline and say the studio fires you.
Yeah.
But then that goes on, most people, maybe the people who fail as a director at that moment would go, shit, my career's over, I've taken one step back.
Yeah.
But the person who's already been through that trial and tribulation on a smaller scale will go, no, this is a step forward to me doing and creating what I really want to create, whether that's like an independent film or whether it's, you know, some new screenplay that comes up the line or just whatever it is, funding from an outside source to create your own independent project or whatever. And then you realize, but you're keeping yourself because your perception now, you understand like this isn't actually a step backwards because you've already been through it once.
Yeah.
Then you know how to make it.
Yeah.
And you know how to keep moving forward, even when the bad shit happens when you're at the top of your career.
And like, yeah, you're just like, I'm gonna make this shit work.
Yeah.
Anyway, no matter what, you know what I mean? No matter what happens, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And even little issues like, say, like, if, you know, actors get an attitude with you or something like that, or like people don't like make it on time, or there's weather issues, or you're trying to shoot a scene or something, and all those things that like the unknown, all these unknown factors that can come into play.
We usually, and that's the thing, we usually perceive the unknown as bad.
Right.
But it's not.
Because our ego wants to have like control over everything, right? And so we perceive it as bad, but it really just is. You know what I mean?
It just is what it is.
It is what it is, right?
Yeah.
And you gotta understand that, and then you gotta be like, okay, maybe the majority of people would see this as bad, but how can I turn this into something good? You know what I mean? How can I make it a positive? You know what I mean?
That's the difference.
That's the difference.
That's the difference of mindset.
Yeah.
People like that saying, like 90% of the stuff that we worry about isn't even real.
Yeah.
Because we're worrying about the unknown because we perceive it as bad.
Right.
But it's not. Like the unknown isn't bad. If you really think about what the unknown is, it's the opportunity to be creative.
Right.
And do whatever you want with it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah,
and that's an essential component when it comes to creativity, I think, because in the unknown is where you find new ideas. You know what I mean? That nobody has ever thought of before.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like how can you expect to create something new while operating within the same consciousness or ideology as everyone else?
Right.
You know what I mean? And how do you break from that?
Yeah.
The only way to break from that is to jump into the unknown.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And in there, right, you'll find, like, say, fucking Christopher Columbus, a new fucking gigantic piece of fucking land. You know what I mean? Like, that we're all living in now. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
well,
we're living
already
on,
occupied.
or wherever the fuck. Yeah. Fuck history. Anyway, it's a good example. But for the sake of an example,
exactly.
you know what I mean?
I get what you're saying.
Yeah, just like, anyway, yeah. So like that's where like the new ideas come from, you know. So I think it's important, and like I think a lot in regards to growing up is like and being an effective, well-functioning adult is like your capacity to effectively deal with the unknown.
Right.
Like that, like, because kids.
That's true maturity.
That's true maturity, yeah, because as kids, everything is structured. Like, usually for most people, up until like 22, 23, right, everything is structured. Like, you know, in college, the structure breaks down.
Well, even after that, it can be structured. Once you go into that 9 to 5.
And that upholds that.
And it makes you feel safe.
Yeah.
But it's like, that safety is what's not allowing you to grow and like blossom out into what you're like, who your true character is fully capable of evolving into. Yeah,
exactly. And that's what keeps a lot of people trapped. And there's just like this fear, like this crazy, like this exaggerated amount of fear that builds up.
Yeah.
And that's like a energetic block that keeps you from evolving. Yeah. And it's gonna keep you from seeing like or from evolving into like the person that you were truly like meant to be. Yeah. But the tough part is like, because we're so used to structure a lot of times, if and when that shit breaks down, it's fucking terrifying. Oh, yeah. It is fucking, because. Well,
that's what happened to me. Yeah, like, I mean, I had a certain level of structure. Like, I had, this, nice apartment. Mm-hmm. I was making a lot of extra money, and I was doing like all the things that you're supposed to be doing by society's standards again. Yeah. But that structure broke down for me, and that's what was terrifying. But at the same time, I had gotten into one of the best programs in the country for writing. So, again, like you said, the external structure broke down. Yeah. But the internal structure was building up.
Right. There you go. Yeah, and that's that's that strong foundation you need in order to, you know, for the real you to fucking blossom.
Yeah, honestly, and like that's why I'm not scared now.
Mm-hmm.
Like I may not have that really nice apartment that I had before right now, and I may not have the extra money that I had before right now, but again, I just have such like a better life right now.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I'm doing things that I want to do like every second. And to me, like the measure of success is you are on the actual path, the right path to your calling, to what you know is your calling. And that calling comes from the universe speaking to you.
Right.
You're not creating it in your own mind and creating it with your own will. Like, oh, this is what I'm gonna do, or this is what I need to do.
Mm-hmm.
It tells you what you need to be doing, and you can feel that energy because you're fucking happy all the time.
Right.
You know, and you feel fucking good.
Right.
You're enjoying every part of it, every part of the journey.
The only thing that sucks about the universe is that sometimes it just doesn't give a fuck about money or apartments or how much of it that you have while you're on the way. So that's dope and shit. That's why like I gotta consciously like set goals for myself because like I understand like being in your flow and all that.
Yeah.
But while I'm on that flow, like I want to have some fucking like a decent amount of money.
Yeah.
And it can be fleeting sometimes, but
I think because I'm such like I think we counterbalance each other in that way, in that like you are more of that structured person and I'm more of like that flow person. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like I probably need more structure sometimes, but I live in such like a flow state where like I'm going by what I feel at that moment, you know?
Right. Which
I think has its advantages and maybe some disadvantages.
Right. Well, everyone can't be everything. You
right.
know what I mean?
You can't have everything.
You can't.
But it's good to know that's who you are and that's like your strength, because the most important part is figuring out over time who you are and what your strengths are.
And stop trying to convince yourself to be this somebody who, you know, is all encompassing, I guess. You know what I mean?
And like fucking Gary says, like, if you know your weaknesses, like screw your weaknesses, like don't try to work on them, double down on your strengths.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And when you double down on your strengths, that's when you, because if you like, you know, if I'm you know, natural writer, you're like natural with your directing, if you just double down on that strength and move forward, then you're gonna find your way to success.
Right. Instead of like trying to swim upstream.
Yeah.
Like I felt like I was doing with bodybuilding. Like I felt like it was like an upstream like struggle kind of.
Oh yeah.
But when I flipped that around, I said, okay, now I'm gonna focus on directing and film and shit, which has always like really come natural to me, like visual storytelling. That and then using bodybuilding as a platform, I felt like I was going with the flow of the record.
And it's almost weird,
it's liberating.
Because it's like my mind almost shaped my reality, because I was such like a flow person, and I was always battling that uphill, like, you know, going up that stream, like you said, when I would have to be like really organized during a contest prep, and really like it would add so much stress and anxiety to my life. Yeah. That like it would be overwhelming and really unhealthy for me. But it's almost like my mind shaped my reality, because like now, like I've told you, like some days I can like eat no protein. Yeah. And like literally I don't lose muscle and I stay the same size, or I even grow. Yeah. And but it's like, it's almost like my body has naturally shaped to my mindset, like, oh, like I'm gonna allow you to have these abilities or this genetic structure, because this is the way that you are mentally. You know, this is the way that you do things. Like you don't, some days I eat 1 meal a day and some days I eat 5 meals a day, you know? It's like, I just go completely by feel. Yeah. And so like, because of that, but like my body responds to it still. Right. I'm kind of
at that place now with bodybuilding too. Like I just let it flow. Like I said, I don't follow a diet or anything right now. Like, okay, yeah, the training's a bit structured because like I have a printout of it and I don't want to have to like, I get like neurotic in the gym. Like if I don't have like a plan.
I do too.
Yeah, it's like
but shit. Now I just like, I like, and that's like one of the reasons like I like doing like the videos, because it forces me to like have a little bit of structure. Yeah. You know, in my training. But most of the time,
you can still just flow with it.
Yeah. I really do.
Yeah. Yeah. So you need like.
But I think that's important too, because then again, you are paying attention to your body and like what's going on in that moment. Like instead of telling yourself like, oh, I need to do this and this and this today, but some days aren't going to be the same as other days.
Yeah.
You know,
and
there's so many factors.
Oh, I know, it's huge. And then like another thing too, like I kind of feel like us creative people, like we get a lot of shit from like other people, like who are not as like everyone's I guess creative to a degree, but like
I think a lot of people who give you shit as like a creative person are giving you shit because deep down they maybe have the same capabilities, and maybe not like to your extent. Yeah. But regardless, they're suffocating their own creativity to a degree, and they're jealous of the fact
you're free in that regard.
You're free, and you're actually pursuing it, well as they're not actively pursuing it. Yeah. Although a part of them subconsciously, deep down, knows that they want to. Exactly,
and they kind of feel trapped, and they feel like people who aren't feeling that are like a threat almost, like to their reality, you know. And so like we kind of like get a lot of shit, and we like, and I guess if you're not aware enough, you kind of feel like, man, like, is there something wrong with me? You know what I mean? I think a lot of creative people feel that. I know I felt that a lot of times.
Well, that's why they say like, well, if you want to, you know, be successful, like they say successful people don't follow the crowd.
Yeah, true, but it's so difficult though.
Yeah.
But like, and I know like nobody can see me right now, but especially like if you also look different too.
Yeah.
Like you kind of look like ambiguous or whatever.
Yeah.
And you think different too. Like that's a fucking. I know it was a big challenge. It's been a big challenge for me.
Well, I mean,
to accept yourself.
Like,
really.
I mean, I know that you get a lot of like. But I know you get like you right, like you're talking about like racial tension. You get like racial tension. Yeah. But even me, being the size that I am, like I've experienced that to some degree too.
It's like you're a writer.
People just right. I told you like I had that imposter syndrome like the first day that I went to residency because I'm looking around and all these people are like looking writerly.
Yeah.
You know? And I'm just like, got these big fucking arms. Yeah. And I'm just like walking in there and he's like, what is this guy doing here? Like I can feel the looks.
And those type of people who are like, I guess I had to like label too much, but are like kind of more nerdy, like the nerdy crowd.
Right.
They look at
and I love them. I fucking love, because deep down I'm just a nerd.
Yeah.
Like I look this way, but deep down I'm just a nerd.
Right. But then they look at like athletic looking people or people who are really athletic. And like, oh, he's not one of us.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
exactly. Oh, he's just a meathead. He probably has no brains and he has no intellectual abilities.
Right.
Or
he's doing this for whatever
creativity or like probably I was kept thinking like,
bro,
probably everybody thought I was like in nonfiction when I showed up there writing some sports book or something.
You know? Really, like that's real shit. Yeah. Like, like I was, like.
But I also think sometimes we have to not get in our own heads so much because I think we guess what people judge about us, and we might be right. Like. Yeah, probably half the people are thinking that. Yeah. But then there is another half that's like us who are very open-minded. Yeah. You know, and you'd be surprised that, they're open-minded to that degree that they're actually not thinking those things. But you're just so used to it over time. Yeah. And it builds up so much over time that you just like automatically walk in a room and you think that's what everybody thinks about you.
And you gotta protect yourself because that's another loop that you're stuck in too. Because it's like, when you grow up, like you make inferences about your environment, you know what I mean, based upon what you've experienced repeatedly, you know what I mean? And after so many years of experiencing that, you're like, you walk in a room and you scan it real quick, you objectify it real quick, it happens like you make snap judgments and like, okay, like this is what I need to stay away from, you know, this is what I can be engaged in, you know, and you make those snap judgments. And sometimes you just gotta check yourself and be like, you know what, maybe it's not like that now, 100%. Like, maybe I need to step back and...
Especially as you get older.
Yeah, especially as you get older. Like, maybe it's not like that.
Because, like, when I walked into that room at residency the first day and I felt like an imposter and I felt like I was getting those looks, it was... I gotta remember, I'm in a room with people who are probably between 35 and 55 years old.
Yeah.
And their life experiences are so different than mine. Or like the people I hang around with at the gym who are like between 25 and 30 and do perceive me that way, that I have to understand like the more life experience somebody has, usually they have a more open perception.
Yeah.
You know, like as you get older, you learn to have these more. Well,
and it's funny because like in the gym,
you become more open-minded or you become more closed-minded.
Yeah, true.
You know,
and it's funny because like in the gym, like people are like, oh, like why are these motherfuckers like so quiet or whatever? Like,
right.
And it's like, no, we're not. Like we can like,
we're not quiet at all. It's
yeah.
like we automatically just don't talk because we know your perception of us.
Yeah.
Because you've made it very clear what your perception is.
Yeah. It's
you
like,
know what I mean?
Yeah. It's like like so.
And so I don't care to talk. I mean, like, I'm not trying to be an asshole, but I don't care to talk when what the energy you're giving me back is not energy I want to feel.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right. Because you've already prejudged me and put me in this fucking hole.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, damn, like, I can't break out of your perception that you created of me. Like I'm not going to struggle to do that.
Exactly. I'm not gonna fight you on it, man. Like, I had somebody come up to me in the gym and was like, you're the king of quiet. And I was actually like, no, actually, like, when I'm with people, I talk a lot.
Yeah.
Like even my client was like, yeah, like, people may think you're an introvert from the outside, but you're definitely, like, more of an extroverted person when you're around people.
Right.
Like, that you want to talk to, and you're one-on-one with people, you're way more extroverted.
Yeah, like when you're around the right people who have like the the right mindset, you know what I mean, and who are like more open in their perception. Yeah. And it's like, okay, it's easier to let go, you know what I mean, and you're able to delve into those.
Because you're in that safe zone.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're
right. Yeah. And here's the thing about safe zones and comfort zones: they're not bad things. You know what I mean?
You have to.
They're not bad. And you have to have.
It's all in context. Like it's all depends on what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Like.
Because like you go on Instagram right now and you can see something about somebody saying break out of your comfort zone, Yeah. All right, cool. Like,
but not in every situation you want to do that,
or else you're just gonna be insecure all the time.
Yeah.
Like no, like you focus on expanding your comfort zone.
Yeah.
As opposed to like fucking jumping out of it all
the
time.
Right. Exactly.
You know what I
mean? Like public speaking. Get comfortable public speaking.
Yeah. Because you know it's gonna expand who you already are.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, as opposed to like trying to be something different. You know what I mean? But that can be perceived as being out of your comfort zone. But how is that going to help you being insecure about doing something that's not really you? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, that's the thing about comfort zones. Like, I hate going on fucking Instagram and be like, oh, yeah, jump out the comfort zone. That's the only way to go.
Well, that's what I like. Social media is bullshit.
Oh, I know. Like, you got to take a break from that shit sometimes. Because, like, man, like, it'll really fuck you up.
Yeah,
like,
because it'll tell you so much shit, but, like, it's the wrong advice.
Right, yeah. Because it's all, like, contextual. It's, like, all about what's going on in your life and what perspective is going to work for you. You know what I mean? It's not that... take it. Yeah, a lot of advice sounds fucking good, but is it gonna work for you in your life?
Exactly.
You're the only one who could determine that.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's
it. And just like I think we talked about earlier, like I think some people are fine working in a 9-to-5. Like that's what they were born for, and they love life that way. They're good with like a very comfortable. Again, like that's their comfort zone.
Like a lot of our parents, like a lot of the baby boomer generation.
Yeah.
Like that's what they know. Like college is like your golden ticket to success, right?
Yeah.
And success is having a 9-to-5 job. A house, a wife, a couple kids. All that.
Yeah, and I have friends like that, and like they have huge personalities. Yeah. And I think because they have such huge expanding personalities, they're totally comfortable with just living that like homely life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And it's not necessarily a bad thing. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's not a bad thing.
No.
But I think there are a lot of people like us now coming up, you know, who really want to be creative.
I was actually talking to my aunt about this last night because she runs her own business.
Okay.
And I think honestly, like in the future, like we're getting to a point where like there's so many people, right? Yeah. And jobs are so competitive and school is so competitive. Mm-hmm. It's either like when you start off at grade school, it's either going to be like, all right, you got to be a 4.0 student, summa cum laude, do every extracurricular activity that there is, and go to Harvard Law School to become a lawyer, or you're an entrepreneur. And you make that decision when you're like 6 years old, and your parents better like fucking understand that shit. Because, no, seriously, because Because if they don't, you're gonna fail. You're gonna end up like working at Wendy's, or you're gonna end up working at Starbucks, and you're gonna be like, my life fucking sucks. I wish somebody would have helped me along the way and helped me realize what my true passion was.
Right.
So you better figure out, yeah, I'm an intellectual bookworm and I really want to be an engineer and I want to go to school, or you better figure out, like, I have a huge passion for film and art and I'm going to be a fucking entrepreneur. And you're going to see more and more entrepreneurs. It's not just getting popular because it's the cool thing to do. It's becoming more popular because we're so competitive.
It's almost necessary.
And there's so much more passion and opportunity to show your passion through social media and society, that there's more opportunity for entrepreneurs.
Yeah, but sometimes I think like America is like the land of too much opportunity, where there's so much, everything's so expanded,
absolutely,
that it's so easy to get like confused. Like that, like the for like young adults, like when you're like 17, 18 or whatever, you're going into college and you have no realistic kind of perspective of what real life is like.
Well, I think that's why shit's taking so much longer now, because everybody just went to college and then they got a job after. But now, like, people aren't getting into their careers and getting married and having kids until so much later, because shit takes longer to figure out, and your chances of getting that fucking $60,000 a year job right out of college are so much lower now. You got to be like the top 1% of students.
And there's just so much information. That's the thing. There's so much information now, and you could look up anything, right? But finding what really speaks to you individually, that is such a fucking huge challenge now.
It's a journey. It takes a lot of time.
Yeah, because everything is open. Everything is fucking wide open, and I think
with the internet and everything, you can just go forever.
That's why sometimes, back in the day,
it's almost that's what we were talking about the other day. Like, it's almost better to not know so much,
to have fewer choices,
and to not overthink.
Stephen Pressfield says in his book, like, when you turn pro, like, your life becomes so much easier because you cut out all the extra bullshit that you didn't need before, like all that infinity of knowledge or of information. Like, you fucking file that shit down into, like, a very small track that you stay on. That's you, that speaks to you.
Right. And it's good to have life experience. And I think that's why, like, again, most entrepreneurs become successful between like 27 and 35, or like artists, or whatever you are, whatever your passion is, because you do need, like, the experience, that wide open experience of life. But then you need to be able to reel it into something. Like, when I see people who are like 20-year-old writers, I'm like, oh, that's really cool, but, like, you don't have a ton of life experience to express through your writing. You know what I mean? And maybe they do. I mean, maybe they've been through certain things like death or other things that, like, would give you certain levels of experience, but there's still a lot of experience and a lot of growth that takes place, and it never really ends. But like, between 20 and 30 years old, like, you're gonna learn a shitload about yourself, and, like, really you should take that time to actually learn about yourself and expand yourself and figure out what it is, like, that you actually want to do.
Right. I think it's more important now than ever. Because it's so easy to get into, like, some random fucking job where you're just like, you're just so detached from it, and it sucks everything out of you. Right. And it's like, oh my God, like, how can I continue to do this? And especially, like, if you gotta support yourself, that's the hard part too. Especially if you gotta support yourself too, and, like, you're stuck in something that, like, that fucking sucks. It's like, damn, like,
well, and I think like that's where I was at as, like, being an entrepreneur trainer. Is that, like, I was like, oh, this is just the next logical step, because I was a bodybuilder, is to be a trainer. And so that made me, like, not enjoy the craft as much. Right. But then once I learned that I could use it as a platform for my artistic ideas, my entrepreneurial ideas, my motivations to speak to people, and like, and my way of expressing that I'm a writer also, then I really started to love fitness and being a trainer. Like, I started to like see more of its platform and its usefulness and how I can really enjoy it, versus before it was like, oh, well, like, this is just the next logical step. And when you're just doing things in steps, and you're just following a system, it's like.
And the funny thing too,
you feel that stuck feeling.
Is that no matter what you pick, it always has something to do with you. No matter how off you think it is, or not related to you, it is because you chose it.
Yeah.
So because you chose it, at least a little part of you is invested in that choice.
Right.
And it's going to help you get to wherever you want to be somehow. You don't see how the like Steve Jobs says, you might not see how the dots connect right now.
Yeah.
But when you get to where you want to be, and where you want to be is usually when you're living as the highest expression of who you are, you can look back and be like, oh fuck, I see how that like helped me out. Like, you know what I mean? Like I see how that prepared me for the shit I'm doing right now. You hear a lot of successful people, you know, talking about that, like Elon Musk, Steve Jobs, you know, Arnold. When Arnold talked about being a fucking personal trainer, he was like, man, I fucking hated this shit. You know what I mean? He was like, bro, man, there was so many other things I thought about doing, like when I was doing it. Yeah. But, you know, he had to go through that. Yeah. You know, he had to go through, you know, his boss wanted to fucking have sex with him. You know what I mean? Like, his fucking male boss, you know? Yeah. But because he stuck to his guns, like, he left the house that he was supposed to live in, and in a foreign fucking country where he didn't even speak the language, like, he found a place to live. He worked as a personal trainer, like doing a job he didn't want to do, and with a fucking boss, a male boss who wanted to fuck him. Like, yo, like that shit is crazy. Like, bro, can you imagine that shit? Bro, could you imagine that? And living with random fucking people too, like, bro. Like, but yeah, that's what I can relate to that shit too. But like, I mean, I can't relate to living in a foreign country, not even like really speaking the language, and trying to pursue something like bodybuilding.
No, I couldn't imagine. Just
that,
like,
bro, like that's crazy.
Like that,
like
you have to be on another like another level of thinking.
Yeah,
to do that.
Like, but that's why he's so fucking successful. Cause like in his mind, like he always knew, he's like, I'm gonna make this shit fucking happen no matter what. You know what I mean?
And well, that's it. Like, your mind shapes your reality, period.
Yeah.
And people don't understand that. Like, it really does.
Yeah. No matter what your external circumstances look like, you know what I mean? Like, you can still, you still have, you know, some control over it. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's why he got to where he is now.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. Fuck. Good talk.
That was dope.
That was fucking dope, bro. I was, 47 minutes.
Dude, we need to put that shit